The final chapter on JFK, Chapter 13, Segment 4, The Imperfect Defense.
Welcome back. This is Segment 4, The Imperfect Defense. In this segment, we'll be looking at Jack Ruby's defense to killing Lee Harvey Oswald. The segment card shows the front of the Dallas Police headquarters that existed at the time of Lee Harvey Oswald's killing. If you believe the claims made by the Dallas Police Department, the FBI, in the Warren Commission at the time, Jack Ruby, a middle-aged man, somehow just got caught up in the emotion, and on Sunday morning, November 24th, while just walking down the street, placing a Western Union money order exchange, walked to see commotion, saw people near the police headquarters, decided to drop in, got so carried away, he just killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Temporary insanity. Bill Bonanno stated publicly that he knew, as did everyone else in the mob, that Jack Ruby was connected with Chicago organized crime. Let's listen to Bonanno's statements concerning Ruby on this subject.
When I saw that, I was confused because I didn't know who Jack Ruby was. But when the announcer started talking about Jack Rubenstein, I said, Rubenstein, the fellow that was with me, I says, isn't that the guy from Chicago?
Rubenstein, Jack
Yeah,
Ruby,
Jack Ruby, yeah.
belonged to Sam Giancana. So Giancana, the stories that he was in part obviously connected to the Kennedy assassination. He was connected to the killing of Marilyn Monroe.
That's what the reports are, yeah.
And was he connected to the killing of Bobby Kennedy also?
No.
While it was claimed after the fact that Jack Ruby just lost his mind and went off and killed Lee Harvey Oswald, it appears likely that Ruby was either involved with Lee Harvey Oswald or was supposed to be hunting him. Depicted in front of you on the green screen is a report from the Dallas Police Department summarizing the killing of Lee Harvey Oswald, stating that there were approximately 123 people who were investigated, who were in the basement or in the area of the basement at the time of the killing, including 20 patrolmen, 21 reserve patrolmen, 30 detectives, 19 supervisors, 13 reporters, 11 cameramen, and 9 civilians. In the basement, there were 9 civilians at the time that Lee Harvey Oswald was shot. And out of those 9, one was Jack Ruby, and the other was his lawyer who supplied counsel to him right after Ruby shot Oswald. Yet, in that same report, the Dallas Police Department stated that we are convinced that our investigation has established to a reasonable certainty that Jack Leon Ruby entered the basement from the main street ramp and that no collusion existed. That's absolutely untrue. After the Kennedy shooting, Jack Ruby went to the Dallas Morning News building in a panic, and he telephoned his sister, Eva Grant, at a little after 1 in the afternoon. Thereafter, Ruby was seen by Dallas News reporter Seth Cantor, who had known Ruby for years. He saw him at Parkland Memorial Hospital. Shortly after that, Ruby then went to his sister's house and began to act like a condemned man. He made a series of farewell telephone calls to friends, relatives, and acquaintances all over the country. Eventually, Ruby just broke down and began to cry. According to Ruby's sister, he then decided to lie down for a while, and upon rising, Ruby, as a non-practicing Jew, telephoned the local temple to find out the time of the Friday evening worship service, and Ruby advised that he was planning on attending. From the temple that Friday evening, Ruby then traveled to the Dallas police station where Lee Harvey Oswald was jailed, and although there was supposed to be a restriction on people entering the third floor of the Dallas Police Department, Ruby was seen going in and out of doors repeatedly throughout Friday evening, and that included the office of the main police interrogator, Dallas Police Captain William Fritz. Ruby was so bold that on that Friday evening, he served as a PR, public relations liaison officer for Dallas District Attorney Henry Wade by introducing reporters and news media to Wade, who Ruby claimed he knew, but of course, who Wade, after the fact, claimed he didn't recall or didn't even know who Jack Ruby was. And as is evident from both photographs and film, Jack Ruby was at the silent press conference with a pistol in his pocket. Immediately after the silent press conference, Jack Ruby had a 2 to 3 hour meeting with a Dallas police officer in a nearby parking garage. Later, during the Warren Commission 1964 investigation, the Dallas police officer that Ruby had met with that evening, in a sworn deposition where he was questioned by a Warren Commission investigator, testified that Jack Ruby told him that night in the parking garage that he was going to have to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. However, rather than to accept the officer's sworn testimony and make a permanent record of the testimony, the commission's investigator requested a break, sent the court reporter out of the room. The investigator then spent the next 20 minutes threatening the policeman, and the interview was never completed. While Lee Harvey Oswald was being interrogated for the last time, Jack Ruby supposedly called up one of his club's dancers to support a planned alibi. During Ruby's initial call to the dancer, he requested that she call him at a specific time to a specific telephone to request money from him by a Western Union money transfer, which would be stamped for date and time. As requested, the dancer called, and Ruby went to the Western Union office to wire her money, which was down the street from the Dallas Police Department's headquarters, and he obtained a recorded timestamp of the wire transfer. This supplied Ruby with the convenient alibi that he was only in the area to wire the money to the dancer, and he then lost his sense moments later and killed Oswald in a fit of rage. If the view of Jack Ruby completely losing control of his senses and in a fit of rage killed Lee Harvey Oswald, Ruby's shooting of Oswald was an impromptu event. He then would have a perfect defense to a first-degree murder charge of being able to claim a sudden, unpremeditated impulse to act out against the assassin of his president. Depicted on the green screen is an FBI diagram of part of the floor plan for the third floor of the Dallas Police Department. The floor plan shows Captain Fritz's office, the interrogation room, and the elevator where Oswald would have gone down to the basement as part of the Sunday morning transfer. Let's look at that exhibit very closely and see if there's anything missing. It almost looks like maybe only 25% of the whole floor is depicted in the photo. And in fact, in another diagram, the entire third floor of the Texas Police Department is depicted. This one shows everything that's available on the third floor. The difference between the two FBI floor plan documents is one shows the full floor and the other one shows only about a quarter of it. The document that shows only a quarter of it was the part that was put into the section in the Warren Commission reports referring to the transfer of Lee Harvey Oswald on that Sunday. The question comes up, why would 75% of the third floor plan diagram for the Dallas Police Department be removed? Well, if we go to the next document, there are red arrows depicted which identify offices in the area that was excluded in the FBI's document. And those offices are for the chief, the deputy chief, the assistant chief, and other deputy chiefs, all located in the south portion of the Dallas Police Department building. All of those offices have windows, and those windows are depicted in blue with blue arrows. Now, of course, if we go to our segment title card, we have the front of the Dallas Police Department, and we have the side of the Dallas Police Department depicted in the next photo, and those on the third floor are the windows of the chief, the assistant chiefs, and the associate chiefs who on the day of Lee Harvey Oswald's transfer, all they had to do is look out the window to watch Jack Ruby walk down the street from the Western Union building, and that would have allowed anyone to signal when the transfer of Oswald should begin. The transfer was originally scheduled at 10 a.m., but yet it was delayed and delayed and delayed all the way up until 11:15 when Chief Curry walks in and announces, "Let's go." And of course, at that moment, Jack Ruby is in the basement of the Dallas Police Station, ready to kill. With that said, hope to see you in the next chapter, which is coming very soon.